Today we're going to be upgrading, hopefully, my TV reception a little bit. It's not bad for being completely stock. It's got the stock crank up, I guess, batwing antenna. I've added a wingman, a Winegard wingman to it, and it's not bad. Like right now I've got 19 channels that it picked up, 16 of which will come in. And they're all pretty good. I mean, there's no major floppy issues. Depending on the weather, you get some storms or whatnot in between here and the antennas, and they come and go. But today, it's doing pretty well. So what we have that we're going to do is we're going to put in, first off, the Winegard signal strength meter, which replaces this thing under here. Which took me forever to figure out where that was when we first used cable once. Couldn't figure that out until I stumbled upon it. But that's going to replace that and hopefully allow me to tune the antenna better, or more easily, let's say, than spinning it a quarter of a turn and resetting all the TVs to look for channels again, and then spinning it again and doing that for an hour. But and after that, we've got the old King Jack digital antenna that should bolt in place on the same pole for my wingman, I hope. And so that's what we're going to be testing after this. The first thing I'm going to do is, well, turn the TV off. And I'm going to get in here with a Phillips and take this off and then see what the wiring behind that looks like. Well, that's something. So we've got what appear to be positive and negative, 12 volts. One of these is, who the hell knows? We got a bunch of stuff here. I'm gonna have to do some figuring. First thing we're going to do is figure out which wire is positive and which is negative. There is positive 13, negative 13. Okay, so the green and white is the plus 12. So that's good to know. Okay, so following the instructions, we've got this. I'm going to have to find a spot to mount. That is offset. I've never used that. I don't know exactly what it was for, but I'll have to find a place to mount it. I may mount it over here on the bottom end of that with another jack, which would be easy enough. But what we've got is, let's see, antenna being the one on the left. The orange one on the bottom is the cable, and the one on the right is the TV. So I need to take that and hook these where they need to be hooked. Doing something. So, on scan mode, it's doing something. And now to read the directions and see what we're going to do. Okay, so she's installed nice and snug. I ran that other black wire out this other side, and I'll mount that on that other one. in a minute. So now let's see, we can, that would be if I had it on cable, and now we're on antenna, which is working because the TV is coming on. Let's see, what do I want to do here? So that worked pretty well. It has a volume setting on it so that you can hear when you're turning your antenna how good the signal is. So that's pretty cool. And basically through trial and error I had ended up in about the right spot the last time. So that worked out pretty well. So I'm going to do one more channel count after I'm going to reset the TV and see how many channels we've got. And then I'm going to see if this thing individually made any difference. And there it is. I took my other cable that had come out of the old RF switcher, and it's mounted here. I'm going to put a label on it saying AUXSAT, or whatever that was. I've never used it, but that was no problem. This thing is working well. I bumped the gain up a little bit, and I've got the same number of channels right now, but a couple of ones that were a little flaky are coming in solid. So I like it. It's pretty good. In and of itself, it doesn't really give you much of a boost, but the gain may help pull in some channels that otherwise you might be aggravated by how they break up when you're watching them. So that is the installation of that, the Winegard Sensor Pro. Now we're going to run up on top of the roof and see what we need to do to mount this thing. See if that makes any difference at all. Okay, so the switch out for the Batwing is pretty quick. Pop the cable off. And there are a couple of pins with E-clips. Looks like that one on. Looks like I got to take the wingman off to be able to get my, well, maybe not. Try something here. Got it. So after you pop the E-clips off, pull the pins, and the antenna comes off. Simple. And now this one, cable plugs into it. Snug, and then pins go back in maybe. And then E-clips go back. And that's all it is for up here. Now, since this is a powered unit, we got to go downstairs, and I think there's a way to do it without having to run a wire up here. So we're going to go figure that out now. So as I just said, this is a powered antenna, which I hadn't realized that. And it comes with this stuff. Now, it looks like what I can do is this one, where I take the cable that I was just messing with on the back of that Winegard booster that I put in, connect that cable to here, and then connect this to the back of the booster where that cable was, then plug it in, and we should be in good shape. So that's exactly what I am about to do. Okay, so that was interesting. We just did the noisemaker trick, and it is working a heck of a lot better than it had been. I'm going to go mess with it a little bit more. Okay, so now after that, because that looks like it is working, I'm going to do the old channel scan one more time and report back with the results. Okay, so I set the gain back to 10 and I got the noisemaker running, got it hooked up the way I believe it is. And so now we're going to go play with it, see what happens. Okay, so that's the first scan. I did run up on top of the coach and check, and yes, the little LED on the unit is lit up, so it is functional, it's getting power. And I'm a little bit disappointed because my first run through, now I've got, instead of my 19 channels that I was getting before, even though some of those were iffy, now I'm only showing 12. So we're going to up the gain a little bit back to where it was before, and try it again, see if we can pick up some more channels. Alright, so that's a little bit better. Instead of just 19, now we have 21 channels, and they're all good. There's none of them that black out. Every one that I do pick up has a picture on it, which is pretty good. So now I just got to figure out how to tuck that mess inside the wall and run the power cable a little bit. But it's not too bad. I'm going to do a couple of more experiments because the antenna on the roof is not level. It's kind of dipped down, and I don't know whether maybe that's would make a difference. So I'm going to see if there's a way I can level that out and test it, and if that makes a difference, we will let you know. So this is what we got right now. It's dipped down, and I think I have an idea. I'm gonna, let's see, get this to work. I'm gonna run down into the coach and try something. That's a little bit better. So now we're gonna go see if that made any difference. I'm thinking not. It's not as good as it could be. There's just a lot of slop in the system, but, well, we'll see if that makes any difference. So lowering it and leveling it a little bit gave me 20 channels. I think high and cockeyed gave me 21. So I'm going to go try to do something, and we're going to do one more check. Okay, so I didn't feel terribly happy with the way that King Jack antenna was performing. It didn't seem to me to be as good as the Batwing with the Wingman. But what I hadn't done is tested the Batwing with the Wingman on full gain like I did with the King Jack. So I just did. I put the Batwing back and left the gain at 20. And now I have 26 channels, including a couple of channels I've never gotten on over the air here, for Fox and a few other ones that are generally extremely weak, and I couldn't pull them in with either, you know, this system without this booster or the King Jack with the booster. So the results of my super scientific test are that this baby, the Winegard Sensor Pro TV strength meter, is really, really worth the money. This thing I like. The adjustable amplifier, that is fantastic. The audio feedback when you're tuning the antenna makes setup super quick. This thing I'll recommend. And my luck with this antenna just wasn't very good. It wasn't really what I'd hoped, but it was pretty cheap, so I'm not too disappointed. I'll hang on to it, maybe use it around the house or something. It's functional. It certainly does pull in some decent channels, and it you know, it's not bad, but the Wingman with the Batwing with the Wingman on it is better for what I'm doing. It picks up notably more channels more consistently. So that's where we are today. Thanks for watching.